Hello. In this session, we are going to discuss how to get driver violation report. So this report is very much helpful in case if you want to view that how much violations your driver have done. That is based on the alerts that are created and the drivers are allocated to the vehicle. The violations can be captured in the system. So this information is available into report, into driver behavior and into driver violation. So this is the summary records for the driver violation where the information that will be available, that is which driver was driving into which branch, accordingly how much distance the driver have driven for the specific date and a time information, that is from date time and a to date time, and within that time durations how much running hours that particular driver have driven the vehicle, that information will be reflected. What was the average speed was driven by the driver, that information will be reflected. Accordingly, in the case if the max speed have been reach out, then that information with the max speed information will be reflected in max parameter. Also, the count information for each and every specified violation into the system can be reflected. That is, how many number of a time the driver have done the high acceleration, the braking can be counted. Accordingly, how many times the driver have done the cornering, the number of a count will appear. Accordingly, in the case if seat belt is not wear by the drivers and the violations of the seat belts are occurred, then the count of seat belt will reflected. Accordingly, in the case if the driver have done any AC misuse, then that parameter information will be reflected. Accordingly, how many number of a time the driver have done the overspeeding, that information will be reflected. In the case if driver have non-stop done the non-stop driving, then that now a number of non-stop count will be reflected with the driving information. Accordingly, night driving violation informations will be reflected. Based on that, in the case if the driver have done unnecessary idling, then that idling event occurred and the violation information will reflect it. Accordingly, how many number of the overstay the driver have done, based on that, the overstay information parameters count will be reflected. And accordingly, based on that, if there is any unauthorized break that's been done and captured into record, then unauthorized break information will be reflected. Now, based on the filter record that are company, you can select the company for which you want to view the record for. Branch can be selected. Accordingly, from date time and to date time can be selected for the filter. Now, based on the summary record, in the case if you want to view the detailed information, then you need to double click the record. So when you double click this record, the total number of information will be reflected. That is based on the event that is available. So here you can find the vehicle, the driver have driven which vehicle, that information will be reflected. Accordingly, what was the maximum speed that was being driven, that information parameter with its event date and a time parameters. Accordingly, what was the exact location to reach that location the event has occurred, that information will be reflected. And based on that, the information that is which drivers have driven for a specific date and a time, that is from date time and a to date time will be reflected. And accordingly, in the case, if you want to view where exactly that violations have been occurred onto the map, then you can click on the map. So based on that, when you click on a show on map, the map will appear with this point where exactly the violations was occurred. So here you can find that the particular violation point and with its address information. And accordingly, in the case, if you want to create any address or a geofence for that particular specific event, so that can be done as well. So when you click on the add address option, you can able to add the addresses for that particular location point. Likewise for the geofence as well. So this is how the driver violations reports are available in the software and helpful in the case. Thank you.